Okay, we're on Taharot, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph. First Mishnah, the third chapter of Masechet Taharot. We're going to have, what happens if you have a food transformed between one kind of tumah and another kind of tumah, sort of naturally. It says the Mishnah, Harotev ve'agrisim ve'achalav. If you have rotev is like sauce from meat that congeals, turns into a goo or a gelatinous whatever, gelatin, and back, depending on how heated it is. Or grisim. Grisim are wheat kernels that are, it's like cracked wheat. Okay, and you made it into a porridge. Okay, so it's a kind of liquid. Bizmanje or chalav, or the same thing is true of milk. It says that congeals. Bizmanje mashke tofeach, when they're mashke tofeach. Tofeach means that they're dripping or liquid. When they liquefy, then harehem tchila. Let's say the food was a sheni the tumah. Now what happened was so the wheat was sheni the tumah, and then you put milk in it, and you made your porridge. Okay, so now the liquid makes it. Remember, we said if liquid touches a sheni, it becomes a rishon, and then it can make something else a sheni. So now the whole thing, it's a tchila, it's a rishon the tumah. But karshu, let's say the whole thing congealed. You leave your meat out, and the whole thing, put it in the fridge. Now the whole thing is one solid piece of meat blob. Harei lushniim. Then the liquid was a rishon, but it turned the food into a sheni. Says the Bartanura. The kevan shenikrishu, since it's karash, since it's solidified, chashuvim ke'achlim. Now it's food. Shenagu b'mashkim. It touched the liquid that was a rishon. So now it's a sheni. Okay. Chazu v'nimocha. Now let's say you went and took it on, put it on the stove, and it melted. Okay. Now kibeitza mechuvan tahor. If the whole thing is the size of only exactly a kibetza, remember, in order for it to be metame other things, it has to be the food has to be metame, has to be the size of a kibetza. But if the food plus the congealed liquid is more than a kibetza, is exactly a kibetza, then as soon as the melting process begins, once that first tiny drop of meat juice, starts melting, starts decongealing off of the meat, then the meat blob is less than a kibetza. And therefore it's not big enough to be mitame. It says the Bartanur, if it's kibetza mechuvan, if it's exactly the size of kibetza, tahor. The yatzem torot ochel, it loses its status of ochel. But yaradam torot mashke, right? Once the congealed meat juice starts melting, it's now a liquid. Okay, uparcha tumato kishenishtanu, and the tumah fly, that can be mitame, but the liquid doesn't have anything to make it tameh. Why? The mechidatzat tipa rishona, as soon as the first drop melts off, im ita ocha mikabetza, it's less than the size of a kibetza. Upacha mikabetza and mitame acherim. But if it's less than kibetza, it cannot be mitame. Okay, but yoter mikabetza, if the meat is more than the size of a kibetza, then it's tameh. Shekevan sheyatza tipa rishona, as soon as the first drop starts to melt, starts to liquefy, need to make a kibetza. Then the food is the size of a kibetza. It makes the liquid now becomes a rishon, is back in mitame, the whole food once again. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.